you who sleep, arise from the dead, and Christ will give you light. See then that you walk circumspectly, not as fools, but of wise. We're not of darkness, we're of light. Let me say this. I struggle with sin. I know you struggle with sin, but I struggle in the light. There's nothing I don't talk to the Lord about. If I'm wrestling with a temptation, if I'm wrestling with something, I wrestle in front of God. I go before the Lord. And by the way, Hebrews 4 says that we can come boldly before the throne of grace. Aren't you glad that God's throne is a throne of grace? It's a throne of grace and mercy. When it says come boldly, that means frank speech. Come boldly before the throne of grace. Don't be religious with God. Be respectable and respectful, but don't be religious before God. He knows everything in your life. I mean, don't patronize him. He's God. And so when I come before the Lord, I just act like I'm talking to my best friend. And I tell my best friend everything. Karen's my best friend. I tell her everything. I tell God everything. I'm struggling with this. I'm struggling with this. Well, there's something that happens when you bring it into the light. There's also something that happens when you keep it in the darkness. And so if you want to keep your life devil-proof and not give the devil permission to devour you, is stay in the light. Keep things before God. Stay in a place where what you're doing is acceptable to the Lord. And if it's not acceptable, talk to the Lord about it. Ask his forgiveness. He'll forgive you. But keep short accounts with God. The second thing about lions, which is crazy, I'm going to use a kind of an inventive word here. They're paravisual. Now, this is spooky. So we were in a Range Rover all the time that we were in the wild. Well, we took some walks in the wild, but we were in a Range Rover, and I would have lions literally 2 feet away from me staring at me, and they couldn't see me. Now, it's scary when you first do it. And so they told us, as long as you're seated in this truck, they can't see you. They see this truck as one big animal, and we're too big for it to kill, and they don't like our smell, and we don't take their food. And so they just leave us alone. We were in a pride of 10 lions that had just killed a Cape buffalo, and they were in a frenzy eating this buffalo. We were sitting right in the middle of them. They're walking all around our truck. I had a leopard one day walk up the side of the truck, look me dead in the eye. His head was literally 18 inches from my head, and he walked off and couldn't see me. However, if you stand up in the truck, they'll kill you. And they told us one day, I said, what if I stand up? They said, they'll kill you. As soon as you present yourself as an isolated target, they'll kill you. They told us about a Japanese man who'd been on a tour like we were in the bush. He got too familiar with the animals. He stepped out of the truck, and the lions killed him in front of his family. So here's what I'm saying to you. The truck is Christian fellowship. Let me read you a couple of scriptures here. Matthew 18. Again, I say that if 2 of you agree on earth concerning anything they would ask, it will be done for them by my Father in heaven. Where 2 or 3 are gathered together in my name, I am there in the midst of them. There's something about being with other believers in fellowship that protects us from the devil. See, the wolf is always looking for the lone sheep. When you're out there by yourself, you're in grave danger. When you're together with another believer, let me read you one more scripture. This is an end-time scripture, Hebrews 10. Let us consider one another in order to stir up love and good works, not forsaking the assembling of ourselves together, as is the manner of some, but exhorting one another, and so much more as you see the day approaching. Don't forsake the gathering of yourselves together. Now, I know because of COVID, a lot of people are at home. I hope you're at home with someone and not by yourself. I hope you're sharing your issues, your struggles with other people. The book of James says, pray for one another, confess your faults to one another, and pray for one another that you may be healed. When it says confess your faults before one another and pray for one another that you may be healed, did you know that there's some things that God won't do in your life unless you're in Christian fellowship and you're talking to other people about what you're going through and you're asking for prayer? Well, what this is saying is don't get in the habit of not gathering together in Christian fellowship, especially when you see the end times approaching, this spiritually severe time. This is since last year when COVID happened, there's only one group of people that did not suffer mental decline in the last year. It's regular church-going people. That's Barna Research. Regular churchgoers did not suffer mental decline. That should tell you the importance of being together with other believers. The truck is the church. The truck is Christian fellowship. When you're outside the truck, you're in danger. When you're in the truck, you're in Christian fellowship. You're praying, you're confessing to other believers. You're depending on other believers to keep you accountable, and you're keeping them accountable. You're safe from the devil. He attacks the lone sheep, not sheep close to the shepherd. Number three, and this is the last one, lions are territorial. It's all about territory in the wild. And so the purpose of a lion's roar is intimidation. And so our guides in Africa, the two of our favorite guides were Blessed and Solomon. Those were two of our guides. Those are the guys you want leading you in the wild. And I asked, we were going on a walk one day in lion country, and Blessed had a gun, a big gun, which made me feel a lot better. And so I said, Blessed, what do we do if lions come up on us? Because they were going to come up on us. He said, don't run. He said, as soon as you turn your back on a lion, they'll kill you. But if you face them, they'll do a territorial display, and they'll come up and they'll prowl at your feet and make bad noises and stuff like that. And what they're saying is, watch it. This is my territory. Watch it. Let me say this. The devil wants your territory. And fear is the number one way that the devil uses to get your territory, intimidation. But God has not given us a spirit of fear, but of power and love and a sound mind. And here's what I'm saying. You fight for your marriage. You fight for your family. You fight for your health. You fight for your mental health. You fight for your destiny. You fight for your calling. You fight for everything that God has given you, and you don't give the devil an inch. And if he's taken an inch, you fight him to get it back.
Please subscribe to Pastor Jimmy Evans' channel to receive the latest videos.